Hello, and welcome to another episode of Untraditionally Traditional, a podcast with me, Baby Duncan, a millennial homemaker. Join me each week as I share all the things I've learned that make keeping your home, garden, and life running smoothly, all while working. If you are enjoying the podcast, please be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcasting app so you get the episodes downloaded straight to you every Monday. Now, on to today's episode. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Untraditionally Traditional, a millennial homemaker. This is your host, Baby Duncan. This podcast has always been a reflection of a few things, but mainly what I'm thinking about and doing in my life, or what others have asked me for advice on, or scenarios that have come up. It's not a motherhood podcast, and while often being a mother is one of those hats that homemakers wear, I am cognizant that not everyone is in this stage of life. All that said, I am going to have periodic episodes that talk about motherhood, family, parenting, and this is one of those episodes because that's where I am in life. I haven't done any parenting yet since Baby Duncan is only 24 weeks today, but I do have some tips to share about how I've been prepping for his arrival, building out our registry, getting supplies, building the nursery, and that kind of thing. So I will be diving into that. Before I start on the main episode, let me share my 3 favorite things of the week, which I'm going to do a pregnancy version of also, given the intended audience for this particular episode. The first is 8 Sheep Organics 2-Step Stretch Mark Prevention Bundle. I am not through my pregnancy, and I know I'm going to continue to grow, but knock on wood, thus far I have not had any stretch marks appear, which I think is due to these products I've been using because I am prone to stretch marks. I got them when I went through a growth spurt in my teens on my hips, and genetically, the women in my family have had them. If I get them, it is what it is. Small price to pay for the miracle the body does growing a child, but I'm really excited that I haven't had any yet. So anyway, I think we're conditioned to feel like, everyone should have airbrush skin, and that's not reality. So if you do have stretch marks, cheers, sis. But these products, I do think are helping to prevent them. They also just feel really good on. I'm exercising 2 to 3 times a week and doing yoga, and between the workouts and the stretching, heck, even just sleeping, my belly can get really itchy. And so through movement, it gets really itchy. And so I lather up with the lotion, especially that overnight nourishing balm. And then my skin doesn't feel like it's stretching as much or itchy. So top tip on that one. For the pregnant mom suffering from heartburn, a friend recommended that I get these papaya enzyme support chews from Country Life brand. And they've been a game changer. Obviously, get your doctor's opinion before taking these. This is not medical advice, but personally, they have helped me tremendously with heartburn. And a pregnancy pillow. I really thought I would get through pregnancy without a pregnancy pillow. And by week 16, I was sleeping with 4 pillows, regular pillows, tossing, turning, throwing them around. And so my sweet friend Katie passed on her pregnancy pillow to me, and I'm sleeping so much better. Unfortunately, I was trying to find the exact one, and I don't think that they're making it anymore, but it's kind of a cross between a U and a J-shaped pillow. Some of the mom cozy ones look kind of similar in shape, but basically the godsend is the part that goes between your knees to keep you on your side and take pressure off your back. And it also just kind of provides a nice rest for the bump. Yeah, super comfy. Anyway, let's get into how I've planned and prepped and built out a registry thus far. This is what's worked for me, and if you're ahead of me or behind me, doing some of the things I mentioned, doing nothing that I talk about, fantastic. As with all episodes of this podcast, it's meant to be what I found helpful. Take what you like, leave the rest. On last week's episodes, one of my favorite things was the Expected and Organized Pregnancy and Newborn Planner by Undefining Motherhood. I ordered this in October, only 1 month into my pregnancy, with grand plans of diving into it. If you listen to the episode Bedside Bananas, you may recall that I was struck with pretty bad nausea and vomiting for weeks 5 through 11. So all those plans of getting ahead and reading this book went out the window. That time period was survival. But I've started building out the registry since then based on the guidance in this book. I've really dove into it, especially over the last 3 to 4 weeks. And at this point, I've actually read through the entire book, which covers building your registry, home prep, birth prep, recovery prep, and then insights for the baby's first few months. And I would say the most in-depth section is the registry and home prep. The birth prep section and recovery prep certainly are helpful, but they're more of like lists of things to consider getting. It's not going to walk you through like laboring techniques or anything like that. Starting the registry early has been very helpful for a few reasons. One, and to those of you who are listening and already mothers, you know this, there's a ton of stuff to get or think about. Big items, yes, but also lots of smaller items. What I love about this guide is that it lists all the items and considerations, and it tells you the essential items and then the optional items, and even makes some brand and product recommendations with like notes as to why they're recommending that. And like, if you're this type of person, you might consider this. There are so many things that this registry guide covered that I can guarantee I would not have considered and would have left off or forgotten. It also gives you quantities of things like how many swaddle blankets or onesies you really need, like per age group and that kind of thing. So that's helpful so that you don't over or underbuy. So I built out the registry with Johnson. A lot of the stuff I narrowed down from reading the guide, reviews, mom blogs. But then other items, we asked for advice from parents in our circle. Pretty early on, I decided that I was going to make a questionnaire to send out via Google Forms, and I highly recommend doing this. It made it really easy for me to come up with the questions and then send it to moms that Johnson and I know in like a simple text or email for them to complete at their convenience. So here are the questions that I asked. What didn't you register for but ended up needing? What did you register for that you barely used? What items did you buy cheap and regret? What items did you buy expensive and regret? Did you use a bassinet next to your bed? At what age did baby move to the crib? If you were having another baby today, what would you register for differently? How do you feel about your diaper bag? Would you get the same one again? Did you have a separate one for dad? What brand or bottle type worked best for feeding? Any products that saved you in the middle of the night moments? Did you love your car seat or not? What did you get? Did you love your stroller or not? What did you get? What were your go-to items for outings or travel? What were the best items to buy secondhand? What did your partner find most helpful? Was there anything you wish someone had told you about the early postpartum days or something someone did tell you that was really helpful? Having these insights from other families was so helpful. I could see trends, products mentioned several times, and then the flip, I could tell that some things are just going to be specific to our family and our baby, like that there wasn't like one central answer. Like people were all different, all babies are different, all families operate differently. So it was kind of nice to be able to see like, okay, yeah, 75% of people said this on this particular question. That's what we should go with. Or okay, yeah, the answers are kind of all over the map. What do we think is going to work best for us? So between the book, this questionnaire, we put together the registry, and I put everything on it to start, even things that I plan to source used, because right now only Johnson and I have the link to it. When we send it out for the baby shower, I'll clean it up. But for now, it's our master list of what we need to get or hope to have for when the baby comes. I'm using a company called Poppy List, and it's got a few cool features about it in terms of like a site to host your registry at, but something I like is being able to mark items as must-have. So this lets me know when I look at the list what I need to get for birth or like that we'll need pretty much right away when we bring them home versus maybe a month or two down the road. Separate from our registry, I made an Amazon list with all of the products that I will need post-birth and the baby might need. So think nipple cream, disposable underwear, Dermaplast, diaper cream. Happy to share this list with anyone who might need it. Just send me a message on the podcast website or on Instagram at untraditionallytraditionalpod. Personally, I didn't want to add all those items like diaper cream to the registry, so I just had this big old Amazon list, and that's probably where we'll order from when we need that stuff anyway, so it's going to be really convenient. Now, here's why I recommend getting a solid registry put together as early as you can. Johnson and I have been able to source a number of things from Facebook Marketplace or from friends and the exact items that we had on the registry. I have the luxury of time because I put the registry together early, so I can scour Facebook Marketplace and pick up items as they come up. Honestly, I check it like every morning and night and just do a quick scroll to see if anything that is on our list is on the registry. Because I'm realistic about the cost of what these things are. Like, yes, I could put everything on the registry and hope that it's gifted, but honestly, like, a lot of things Johnson and I are probably going to end up having to purchase ourselves, which makes total sense. No one else is responsible for outfitting our life for this baby. But I also don't want like our friends and family members to have to spend twice as much money on something that I can buy used for a fraction of the price. So it's really helped us a lot to also be able to like accept hand-me-downs with intention. Not everything that's been offered to us have we taken, because we have a plan for what we would like to use. So that way we're not just like bringing extra stuff into our house. However, there have been a number of things that have been offered that have been on our list, which is amazing and so generous of friends and family members to pass things on. My friend I mentioned earlier, Katie, who gave me the pregnancy pillow, was also really intentional with the clothing that she passed on to us, which I appreciate. It was good quality, free of stains, and just so darn cute. And it's something that I'm going to keep in mind when the time comes to pay it forward with the good stuff, right? Stained onesies can take a pass. As our little guy grows out of things, I'm going to put like the good keeper items in a separate box from the, kind of generic stained or just blown out, stretched onesies, that kind of thing. So here are some of the things that I've bought off Facebook Marketplace or used that have saved us some money so far. First is the Baby Bjorn, I think that's what it is, bouncer and toy bar. I bought this for $100. New, it retails for $229 for the bouncer and then $65 for the toy bar. So we saved $194 by buying it used off of Facebook. The Baby Delight bassinet, new, is $180, bought it for $50, saved $130. Both of these items I've seen quite a few times on Facebook Marketplace, so I think you could probably find one fairly easily if you have a bit of time to wait. The Wild Bird Aerial Carrier, new, is $178, bought it for $85, saved $93. Changing table and pad, the one that we got is new, $195, bought it for $45, so saved $150. The OXO dishwasher bottle parts holder, bought it at the thrift store for $1, retails for $18. Numerous kid books, all retail around like $10 each, and at the local thrift store, I've been getting them for 25 cents each. That's at St. Vincent de Paul, at least our local one. And then Goodwill, they're 99 cents. So kids' books, you can get them used really, really cheap. Shameless plug, I just posted a reel to Instagram about how I'm organizing and displaying books in the nursery so that we actually rotate through them and use them. And a super helpful app that I'm using to categorize them so that I don't double buy, basically. So I can pull up this app, have a list of all the books that we already own. I can also share that link so that if anybody asks what books we have, I can share it with them so that they don't get us one that we already own. For the shower, I've had friends who have hosted showers, and instead of cards, they've asked for books, and I love that idea. So maybe that's something I'll do for the shower. I've been to Kid several times, which is a used clothing store for children, like kids' clothes. I think it's similar. I don't know if they're owned by the same people as Uptown Cheapskate, but it's kind of like that. I think they might be under the same parent company. And I think I've averaged about like $3 per piece for really great brands, including Gap, Oshkosh, Tommy Hilfiger, Ralph Lauren, Carter's. All of the clothes are free from damage or stains. As somebody that buys a lot of her own clothing secondhand for a baby that grows literally by the day, it makes complete financial sense to me. A friend of ours, Valerie, she gave us her nursery chair and footstool. Super comfortable and exactly what I would have wanted, so that was a huge savings. And I've been cautious, as I'm saying about buying these things, I've been cautious to only buy what I think we'll use within the first year. I do get tempted with toys at the thrift store that he'll use when he's a little older, but right now, less is more. I'm focusing on getting through this first year. So don't get me wrong, there are a lot of things on our registry that we will need to buy, but knowing what I'm looking for has already, just in the items that I listed, not including the clothing or the chair, has saved us nearly $600 so far. So that's money that will go towards buying things that I don't feel comfortable buying used, like a car seat or some of the classes that we're going to take to prepare ourselves to be parents. Every penny counts, right? Other things I've done to prep is to set up a call with our financial planner so we can learn what best financial steps to take once he arrives. That's scheduled and on the books. If you listen to my New Year's goals episode, I mentioned that I wanted to have a will and estate plan created since we don't have one of those yet. As we become parents, feels like a great time to do that. So we have an appointment scheduled with an attorney. Excited to get that crossed off. And then last but not least, we are signed up for a birthing class. The first 4 sessions are online and on demand. So we'll be taking those soon. And then the 5th one and final session is in April, hopefully right before our little guy comes in May, if everything goes as planned. So more to come about what I learned through these other scheduled steps, but that's where I am at 24 weeks of pregnancy. And honestly, I'm feeling like pretty on top of it, which is good. I hope this episode is helpful to those of you who are building registries yourself or stocking nurseries. Share it with the mama-to-be, and thank you so much for listening. Until next week, happy homemaking, everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode of Untraditionally Traditional. If you enjoyed the podcast, please share it with those special people who would love it too, and write a review. For more tips and photos of my home and garden, follow Untraditionally Traditional Pod on Instagram. Until next week, let's continue to make our homes places of joy and service to ourselves and those we share them with.